The government's shut down and the people keeping planes from crashing, well, they're still on the job, but not getting paid. We're talking with Dr. Michael McCormick, former FAA executive, about what that means for your next flight and how close we are to real trouble in the sky. Dr. McCormick, we're in another government shutdown now. What are the most immediate risks to air traffic control operations if this drags on?
What we're seeing in the United States is a air traffic control system that has been under stress for over a decade, and there's been a significant shortage of air traffic controllers across the United States. So as a result, controllers have been working long hours and 6-day work weeks for a long time. Now with the government shutdown on top of that, you're seeing a system that is stressed even further. So now we have air traffic controllers who are working long hours, but they don't know when and how they're going to get paid. And however, they still have the obligation to pay bills, take care of their family, get food, buy fuel to get in their vehicle to get back and forth to the air traffic control facility. So that puts some additional stress on the air traffic controllers. So they're already stressed at all staffing. Now they have that personal stress of not knowing what's going to happen in terms of income and how they're going to make it through this. And the unknown part is they don't know how long this is going to last.
Do not know.
So this added accumulated stress, it gets very difficult for the controllers to handle that. And some have to make the decision, do I feel well enough that I can go in and work today and be responsible for air traffic control? And what we're seeing is sporadic locations across the country. Some controllers are saying, no, I do not feel well enough to come in today, so I'm not going to work. With the system that's already under stress, there's no resiliency. There's no ability for additional staffing to come in and fill those gaps. So what we're seeing is that at different times, at different air traffic control facilities across the United States, they'll have to throttle down the amount of traffic that the system can handle in order to keep it at safe levels for those workers who are available to come in. So what we can see is that we'll see delays and we'll see cancellations, and they're going to be unpredictable.
We already had a shutdown back in 2018 and 2019. What lessons did we actually learn from that one?
I think the principal lesson to be learned from that shutdown is that federal employees are people, they're not pawns, and that they have stress, they have families, they have obligations, but they care about their profession and they try to do it anyway. And when policymakers realize that these are real people with families, then they can come together and have conversations about compromise and reopening the government.
What kind of policy or funding safeguards would you put in place to protect critical aviation operations from future shutdowns?
I think the most critical factor in these lapses in appropriation is that the Federal Aviation Administration, and particularly the air traffic control system, need to be isolated from that process. There needs to be a funding stream that is certain to be in place that can bridge the gap whenever there is a government shutdown, so we don't have situations like we see today.
Did you personally work as an air traffic controller, and have you ever had to deal with something like this yourself?
I faced it from two different angles. The first angle was as a young controller, first starting out in the profession, training to become an air traffic controller, there was a government shutdown. And as a young controller, had to move, find a new household, rent an apartment, pay bills, all those things that come with moving a new career and a new location. Suddenly I had a large amount of uncertainty in front of me, and that is, when am I going to get paid? How am I going to make this work? I'm just a new controller. I don't have a lot of money saved up. I'm not making a lot of money yet because I'm not certified and everything. And that was very, very disconcerting. The other way I had to deal with the government shutdown is as a senior executive in the Federal Aviation Administration, I had to implement and manage a government shutdown. And every day I would have a teleconference across the entire United States that would last about 2 hours, just answering questions and giving reassurances and ideas to all the air traffic control employees that were impacted by the government shutdown. And that took about 3 weeks before we actually got past that.
Thank you, Dr. McCormick. That's all for now. No fluff and straight to the point. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts below. I'm Kat Falkres. Thanks for watching.